can you make sure, Ravi, that from now on you are aware of karpas and distribute karpas to the audience? That means also tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, each Kirtan. So, I would like to summarize where we are in our Narada Muni's Katha. This summary will also be good for those of you who just joined us today. We heard of the last life of Narada Muni, who was the Gandharva Upabhana. He was, let us say, in simple English, a cursed devotee. He had devotional feelings in his heart, yes, a lot of them actually. But somehow or other, he had been cursed by his father, Brahma, to become as materialistically inclined. But all throughout his life as Upabhana, he had both strong Krishna conscious in let me say, longings, but also strong material desires. Does this sound familiar to you? We also have these two sides of the side which is spiritually very inspired and we feel called, but then there is a side in all of us which is not yet fully purified. I would like to tell you, Brahma knew that his son was cursed, but he had always some compassion for him. And Narada Pancharatra tells us of one very nice pastime, which I thought to relate to you. Brahma had called Upabhana for an evening like this. There were many saints and rishis present, and also devatas. And he had said to him, "You know how to sing very nicely. Please sing about Krishna's astonishing pastimes. And particularly, I want you to sing about how Krishna left Vrindavan and went to Mathura." And Upabhana, so Upabhana had and he had sung about how the gopis loved Krishna, how they were absolutely absorbed, but how they had to hide their love for Krishna because so many of the elders were against this. They wanted the gopis to marry other husbands, and some of them were already married. But when Krishna, who was so dear to all the Brajvasis, left Vrindavan, the Brajvasis were thrown into a pool of separation, and they cried. The cowherd boyfriends went on the road and cried. The parents, Yashoda and Nanda, cried so hard that stones were splitting. So much suffering. The elderly Brajvasis cried, and the gopis said, "To hell with our shankas, we will also cry." And they ran out, and they followed Krishna, and they were all singing songs. So Upabhana was singing all this and relating all of this. And as he was absorbing himself in the feelings of the how they call the Brajvasis, he felt so strongly, so sad that he started to move his neck, and he started to choke with his voice. He could music got confused. The drums got confused, the string instruments got confused, the flute instruments got confused, and the whole concert just there were only sounds. And the rishis had been listening to Narada Muni and the devatas also. They were absorbed in trance to Upabhana, to the Skandava. And up to now, but when the whole music got confused and they could see their singer could not continue the pastimes of Krishna because he was so absorbed and so moved, they became very, very disturbed. They had seen the pastimes of Krishna, and now it was violently interrupted. It was cut. The movie stopped right there when it was best. And they became so angry that fire manifested from their eyes and from their throats and started to move towards Upabhana to burn him alive. Upabhana saw the fire coming and immediately went into a trance and remembered Krishna. And as he meditated about Krishna, don't forget, he was Narada Muni in his last life, and he's still a powerful devotee, although there is something else, a disturbed mind in him, and he is now materialistically inclined. But he called Krishna, and all of a sudden, the fire of the anger which was moving towards him was met by a very sweet effulgence. The whole place lit up with a light as strong as 1,000,000 suns, and in that light everyone could see a wonderful chariot approaching the place of the performance, the Katha place, and on that chariot, do you know who was riding on the chariot? Syam Sundar Krishna. And he gave his full darshan to everyone in the audience. They all the rishis and everyone saw how he had this Kaustuba gem on his broad chest. They saw how he had sandalwood pulp and flower garlands, and he was greatly effulgent at the same time and very, very eager to give his mercy to his devotees, including Upabhana. So they all started to offer prayers, and at the end Upabhana chanted a prayer. Everyone who chants this prayer and knows this prayer will at the end go back home, back to Godhead. But I will not tell it to you now. I will put it on my webpage just to increase the clicks. No, I plan to print it out and send it to all of you. But then the Lord, who had come to Upabhana, was getting ready to leave. And when the Lord was getting ready to leave, Upabhana started to say, "My Lord, don't leave me. Look at me. I'm your devotee, but I'm cursed. Look at these people. I have 50 wives. I'm just so lusty because of this curse. I don't know what happened to me, but now, if you leave, there is an additional danger. I've been cursed by Brahma, but because I couldn't sing the pastimes of Krishna properly, all the devas, the rishis, and saints have become so displeased with me. There is now a fire of anger as big as the Mandara mountain. And when you leave, this fire will come at me and devour me. Please save my life. He knew that only because of the presence of the Lord he had been saved so far. So the Supreme Lord said, don't worry. Those who worship me by chanting my mantras are independent, and their bodies are imperishable. Simply by taking initiation into the chanting of my mantras, a person's cycle of repeated birth and death is at once terminated. And then the Lord said something very sweetly. He talked about a person who is absorbing his mind into chanting. And it's so sweet what he says that I want to read it to you. A person who chants my names has nothing to fear from death, because he's beyond the jurisdiction of the laws of this universe. Simply by chanting my holy names, a person becomes relieved of all the reactions to his past sinful activities. As blazing fire burns heaps of grass to ashes, the chanting of my holy names and mantras burns to ashes all of one's sinful reactions that were accumulated from millions of lifetimes. O Gandharva, Tulsi Devi is pure, Ganga Devi is pure, and they purify all those who come in contact. But my holy names and mantras are more pure than any of these. O my son, who so often forgets me, for those who chant my holy names, it is not necessary to visit the holy places, to worship the demigods. In other words, those who chant do not require to be purified by these practices. But in this life, I will not give you these very confidential mantras. You will have to take one more birth from the womb of a Shudra woman, as it was declared by Brahma. Now go home. I protect you. After 12 years from now, you will take a new birth in a Shudra family. Then after 5 years, you will meet some sadhus and receive my mantras. And at the age of 10, you will give up your Shudra body and come back to me as Narada Muni. Then that Lord disappeared. So this morning or not yesterday evening, we heard how this was all fulfilled. He took the birth of Ashudra and he met some pure devotees. The Narada Purana explains to us what type of devotees these are. He says, the scripture says, they only speak what is beneficial to others. These devotees who see others as being on the same level as their own selves. They are inclined to only speak that which is truthful. Those who are interested in rendering service to cows and brahmanas, and who enjoy going to places of pilgrimage like Vrindavan, are indeed Bhagavatas, devotees. Those who are joyful when they see the good development of others, they are my devotees. Those who feel ecstasy upon hearing the holy names of the Lord, and whose hairs stand on end at the mention of the holy names, they are my devotees. Those who are never envious of others are my devotees. Those who exercise self-control are my devotees. Those who do